Are we on? Yes, we are on. Excellent. Hello. Um, yeah, so this is for the catch up because obviously no one like catches the stream at the very beginning. I will be coding live this morning, and I'm going to be doing some drawing in Python. I'm going to use it's a framework called processing, but we're going to be running it inside Turing Labs. Excellent little, I think it's called Christmas cards. Let me just fade. Yes, very good. Good. Just I don't I'm not very good with the streaming. I've had to upgrade OBS. Okay, here's one I made earlier, right? So we've got still clear. Well, I guess the corner. Yeah. Um, to the left is my code. We write kind of instructions, and I have drawn, a background, a sky, some snowflakes, and some like grass, like the soil, the brown soil, and the grass. Yeah, here's one I made earlier, as it were. But processing, I mean, actually, I've got processing. You can download it and run it on your system. It's a little bit more involved than that, although not much. It is a framework, so it's not a programming language. It's more of a set of libraries and a way of kind of using, bits, things that have been written for you, but use in this language, and you use this language to actually put it all together to make your thing. And processing is to do essentially to do art with code. You can actually get interactive installations. Um, it's for yeah, it's quite powerful. It was originally the language of the original framework was Java, um, but it was since then been made. There's a JavaScript version called P5.js that runs straight in your browser, but there's also a Python version. It's not the most optimized performance-wise, right? But at least it allows us to code in the language we like. You can see I was googling stuff about it earlier, but still. So for you, if you want to do that, just go to Turing Lab. You don't even need to sign up. turinglab.co.uk. Don't even sign up. You go straight to content. And in content, there's a night mode. That's nice. We have Christmas cards. Actually, we'd have to fetch it from here. I need to check this creative Python, pumpkin carving. Yeah, I need to have a look at the more creative units. I've been using it to teach, as you may know, with the sort of programmy functions and conditions, selections, variables, and so on. But it does give you access essentially to like a little bit of processing. So I'm going, they're both the same one because I'm just not doing the thing. I'm running my own code. So all I need is a blank canvas. I like this one because you can collapse this, um, your own Christmas theme, shapes and color. See, I'm still in the Christmas mood, although it's still in January, although we could go for Valentine's Day. There's stuff, interesting stuff you want to do, hearts and so on. But okay, let's start here at the top. Right, what do we want? We want a background. Background is a function, right? So with brackets here and there, and it takes a color, so that's three numbers. So if I do, well, let me show you. If I do 255 0 0 and run it, I run it with a shortcut, gives me a full red background. That's because those colors are red, green, and blue. So I'm not very good with color, but you get an RGB gribber, a rugub, a rugub, a rug, not the global consultancy firm. I'm just okay. RGB color picker. Thank you very much. Let's have for the British version. Google comes with one. You can go to other sites. Particular some other sites I think will give you, figure out the complementary color and you just give it like the base color and it will pick, like half a dozen that look good with it. Which is, I mean, I'm not very good. You've seen how I dress, right? Clearly not very good with colors. Okay, so yeah, so I kind of like when. Ooh, well, let's put. How about this one? Oh. 88, 87, 148. Actually, programmers are lazy. So I just copied the three numbers, but without the brackets. But I've copied the commas. Maybe it's a bit bigger. All right, let's run at 150. Why not? Although even before the zoom, our canvas is 400 pixels by 400 pixels. The background color gives us a background. We also have other commands that take other functions that take three numbers for color. A little sip of water. And it's very much like in, Paint or Word or all of those tools where you kind of like define two colors to your tool, and maybe one is kind of, the actual strokes, and the other is the fill of the shape. So we have fill, that's our fill color. So let's say I want things that are filled in Well, let's go for bright red, but not that bright. Okay, 200, 0, 0. Now that does nothing if I run it because all I've done is pick the color. I went on my palette and I've said, don't even have the tool yet, but I know I'm going to use some red. Not full red. It's out of 255, so 200 is almost full, 4/5 full. And with that fill, let's do the ellipse. So ellipse. Now numbers mean different things. Let's put in bang in the center. 200, 200. That's x1 coordinates, and then this is the size. So if I give it 100 and 100, it's essentially a circle. This should give me a red circle of radius, so diameter of half the canvas. Bang in the middle, and maybe with I don't know about the line about it. Yeah, see, I've got a little black line about it. So fill is the middle. That's the color. You change this. You make it darker red. Ooh, that's very dark. You also have stroke. This is for the edge. So let's go to let's do something nice. I want nice colors. Ooh, 13324 163. That's my thing. And for the stroke, let's make that. Let's go back here. So that's a nice way of kind of like making your art-wise, right? You just kind of like make the edge darker, highlights it nicely. See, because I think I'm like that with music too, right? I'm not very spontaneously artistic, but if I understand the actually underlying, mechanisms and logic of it, I can vaguely do it, right? So that's our stroke and that's the fill. We also have stroke weight. Now, this is camel case, meaning the head of the camel is small and there's a big bump. So the first letter is always lowercase, and then every new word gives us an uppercase letter. This takes one argument. If I make that 4 pixels, boom. That's the basics of processing. Now, what's good, I can comment all of that in one click. It's Control or Apple slash, which is the key right. Oh, I can even do that. Right next to the Shift key here. Right, look back. So this gives me a hash or hashtag, I suppose, as we call it now, £, sharp right at the beginning of the line, which makes the computer ignore it, and that's why it's highlighted in gray. Okay, so I have my background. Let's do something fun now. Well, I can redo the okay. Maybe I want a darker background. Okay, so let's make that 0 and 30, 90. Ooh. The problem is that, see, I've started something that's not complete, but weirdly it gives me, sometimes you can't really trust the error messages because this is actually running the code within a larger things. It's quite complicated to get it to be that usable. Running native Python is slightly more involved. So if I delete my half line, I still get my background. Okay, that's night. We're at night. Now, we're doing things one after the other in the code, which means they happen on top of each other. It's like as the stickers, right? The stickers you stick on later come on top of the stickers that go first. So we're going to build a scene from top to bottom, from back to front, actually. So this is the background. I don't even have the background of the ground, because this is just the sky, because the sky has to be in front of the ground so that we can see the ground. So if I want to do a ground, I'm going to make no stroke. Again, that's another camel case function. No stroke takes no argument. I take my fill. Now let's start doing some comments. Ground. This is the sky. This is the ground. My fill is going to be a brownish color. It's winter. I don't know where I want a winter scene. I'm thinking of Bob Rossi. Oh, no, that would be good for wood. A darker one. Yes, I like this. Just that fill. That's my fill, and I want a rectangle. So it's just rect, not rectangle. This is where I should have prepared. I should have gotten a little kind of grid to explain. This is the origin of the coordinate system, that top left corner, that 0, 0. The middle is 200, 200. The first coordinate x gets us left to right, and the second gets us top to bottom, and not bottom to top like it is in maths. That's just the one. That's the one thing. That's the one tricky bit. So if I want literally half the image, I want something that's all the way. The top left corner of my rectangle should be all the way at the edge, at the left edge, but in the middle of it, and then the width should be the whole 400, and the height should be the bottom 200. Run it. So now I have a rectangle of 200. This looks like it's not exactly half though, but who knows. Um, Not bad for the ground. I could get it a bit darker, whatever. Now, let's have some stars. Now, I have a function called point. Now, this is where, again, programmers are lazy. Use the reference. I'm not doing all of this from memory, right? I have something called point. It takes coordinates. I don't know about the smoothing. I need to have a look at what the smooth, no smooth does. You can, not in Turing Lab, but like actual proper processing, full processing does 3D, so you can even give it a Z coordinate. It's not what we're doing here. So that's just a point. You can make them thicker, but I don't know if it comes up as squares or circles. So a point at needs to be above. It needs to be, sorry, not above. It needs to be between 0 and 200 of height, so it's in the sky. I don't know, 40, 100, and that's it. That's all. I want to do that with a stroke. So point uses the stroke colors, not the fill color, because it's just, and that's a full white. Well, to start with, right? We'll see. Okay, that's a star. Look at that. I've made one star. Now, this is where, you obviously you don't. Okay, let's just have. We're doing stars. That's good. I'm even gonna put some blank lines so it's all nice. You wouldn't change the stroke, although you can if you want to make like different brightness, and you can just phase that line a couple of times and then change those numbers. But we are programming. The whole point of making it code is that this is intelligence to the extent that smart meters or smartphones, right? It can do things. It can do logic. So I'm going to do a loop. Is this still on? Yeah, excellent condition. Brilliant. Let's make a loop. For, that's our Python loops, for I in range, and then however many I have. Well, let's start with 20 star, right? Colon, and then look, automatically my cursor is here because I have an indentation, those blank space before, meaning those lines are going to be the ones that are in the loop. And then anything that goes back to the left margin is outside of the loop. So now I can do point, but then how do I make the numbers change? Because I want them all in different places. So random. This is a processing function for Python 1. It's a bit more involved in native, just Python. But processing random, it takes two numbers. Those are like, between whatever and whatever. So random between 0 and 400 for left, right, and comma. I've got like an unclosed, I don't know. And another random between 0 and this time 200 for the, those are my brackets, right? The brackets needs to be matching, so I'm opening one, I'm opening a second, I'm closing one, I'm opening one, I'm closing one, and I'm closing. Okay, so I've got as many closing brackets I have as I have opening brackets. Now this is going to make 20 stars in this area. It's pretty good. What if I made, now that I know about random and it's kind of fairly straightforward, actually, I'm pretty sure that stroke will take just one value, right? So if I do 100, yeah, they're much darker, right? So I make that 200. So if you give it one value, it's like just in grays, and all stars are just in grays, and that's good because what we can do, let's take that out. Well, we could have left it in, doesn't matter, but that stroke now is going to be a random number between, well, let's say 100 look pretty good, and then 255. But this time, let's make 200 stars. Ooh. Yes, I didn't close the bracket. Didn't close the bracket. We're fine. We're back in. Look at that. That's pretty. Oh, I like that. Gosh, that's nice. I'm impressing. I'm just doing this off the cuff, right? I've not particularly. I mean, I did like a little bit. Not gonna lie, but I've just sometimes the particular, you know, change of colors or yeah. I didn't know it would look that nice, is what I'm saying. I would still like my ground to be a bit. So here it is. Like from an artistic perspective, you can say make darker. That's a note to me. Actually, even a note to do. Uh, do you know how the Pink Panther? No, there's a joke about the Pink Panther and the to-do list because it's you get it or not. Back on, back onto the coding, please. Right, I have the ground. So it's the sky, the stars, the ground. Well, we could make it darker now, to be fair, right? Okay, I was here, kind of like. This is how much actual color there is. So this is of grayness. This is called saturation. So to the right, it's more saturated. Uh, and up and down is brightness. So in that hue, which I could have it redder as well, right? I could get something here. I think I'm going to want some texture on the ground, but I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve that. So I'll have to think about it, but that's fine. That's what we're doing. The point is that, like, this is not like a very prepared tight tutorial. It's just like live. So this might take time, as I'm saying. Not direct. This is the color of the ground won't change. Run it. Yeah, it's pretty good. A bit darker. It could be redder. Whatever. And it's not here actually. Putting this here so that they can find it really quickly. Although I don't know how big this is going to be. I don't think we need to have this in the code anymore. Let's tidy it up a little bit. Very nice. Star, sky, ground. Now, ground texture. What options do I have? I could make little lines. How about little short lines. Let's have a loop. For I in range to be determined. Let's start with 10 just for principle. What I'm going to be doing is, so is it line? It's maybe as simple as line. You can kind of assume with processing. I mean, rect is, I swear that rect is rectangle because because I knew rect was rectangle, I tried to make it a triangle with try and it wasn't the case. It's line, unsurprisingly. It takes two coordinates and then you can see they're changing the stroke so the light is getting brighter. It does a little bit of 3D stuff, but that's not for us just yet. So we want a line. Well, tell you what, I could let me show you like the simpler code, immediate code. So a line of random, the random location in x-axis is across, so that's 0 to 100. Now you can actually do that to make if you've got several arguments, and I'm zoomed in as well. Actually, yeah, random. But I'm going to bundle them. So this is the first corner. So I want this one I want to be between 0, 200 and 400. So that's y. That's the bottom of the image. That's the ground. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna put spaces for my commas. But then if I don't put spaces after my commas, I need not to put spaces after my commas everywhere because that's gonna be consistent. Never mind. Okay. And then to another random point, like on the ground, just to see what this looks like. Close the bracket of the line, and then we're back here, and then this is outside the loop. I'm always out of the loop. Boom. What does that do? Well, what about the stroke though? Oh yeah, we've done no stroke, so we're not doing anything. I'd like strokes to, again, how about in very dark and very gray? We can, because we can do random stroke with just a random bit. So this is going to be between 0 and 100. Not even, yeah, maybe even 0 and 50. Okay, so they're too light, they're too long. That's the thing. So a lot of like small lines, we can, that gives us texture. But the moment the lines are longer, we see they're perfect straight lines, and this is looking computerized. So I think what I need to do, I need a piece of paper or something I can draw under. I'm going to pick one random location. Okay. I like the idea of the random dark stroke, but I'm gonna make that much darker and then maybe make it a random, within the browns, right? That's also an option. We can always kind of make that fancier later. But I will want I'm going to pick a random point. I don't need to pick two random points. I'll explain. My x is random between 0 and 400. My y is random between 200 and 400. You already know why. I don't need to explain. But now what I'm going to want to be doing is have a line that is from that point to a random point, but the coordinate of the other random point are relative to the first one. Maybe in fact I can just do like, um, a short range, sort of mostly horizontal lines. Let me show you what I mean by that. So the line is going to be between x, y, that's the random point I've chosen, and then an x plus random 0, 10. So like very short like that. And then, so that's always going to the right. I mean, it doesn't really matter because then it's just horizontal line. Doesn't really matter at the start. Although that does mean they will be crossing the right edge, whereas they will be at most, they'll be technically. I mean, it just means like because of that, the left edge is going to look less busy visually. You see what I mean? We can fix it. And then to y, if I'm not putting spaces, I'm not putting spaces anywhere. That's just professional. I'm just professional developer, so it's difficult not to. Yeah, y plus random, and this is where I'm going to make it random. Maybe like, so not quite 10 of variation. Well, it's going to be 10 of variation actually. So let's have this like 0 to random minus 5 plus 5 or minus 5 in human language. This is a bit busy. Um, there's more canvas here. Right, that's my 400 by 400 because I'm quite zoomed in. Yeah, 100% that's 400, 400. Yeah, so I mean, we have to see that. Oh, the stars look much nicer as well. Okay, 110 is probably reasonable. Now I can see my whole line of code. Um, Run this. Okay. No, they're kind of too. Yeah, the color is not quite right because they pop too much. So maybe I actually want them. Maybe I actually want them between 40 and 100. It's a bit weird. As to the lines, if I had a lot more, how would we fare with 1,000 of those? Let's go cray. Ooh. You see, like it's just like the sheer number, because when you get like very simple thing, but like the sheer number of them gives us an idea of like it actually makes that kind of like texture. So you can do art. You can do art that looks analog. Analog. You get it, right? Sort of I wonder if I can also kind of use loops and randomness to make brush strokes that are kind of like little pointillism, just a bunch of little points. We'll see about that. I kind of, it's probably good enough for now. Um, could have them a bit darker, so actually you're going to make them between 40 and 60. I don't have to have super wide range, right? That's kind of like, that gives the tone. And I can, even if mm, I know. Oh, great. That's excellent. What I'm going to do, okay, just like I've done on X random, I'm going to make a C, or, well, I'm just going to call it C1, yeah. And this is going to be a random number. Now I'm going to want positives and negatives. You'll see why in a second. How about, let's start minus 5, 5 like we did for the location, or this is for color. And then the stroke, I'm going to want the stroke of the ground, which was that fill, right? Except that each of them is going to be plus C. So I'm adding a random factor to each of the color values, but the same random factor, which means that they're all going to get consistently darker or consistently. That's the program, not the preview. I'm just broadcasting the right thing. Um, yeah, consistently darker, consistently lighter. That spectacularly failed. Or did it? Or did it? Okay, so actually I'm going to want it darker because like that's the ground color. So either I want more variation, which is a possibility, that gives it like that, or I want small variations, but between say minus 50 and minus 30. Right? There's plenty of option, and this is actually too far from the ground stuff. And why not do both, right? So I can have 500 of one and 500 of the other. Why not? By one and the other, I mean like the gray ones and the brown ones. So let's minus 30. So it's not too dark. To minus 20. Not a lot of variation. And instead of doing that, and this is where I'm just going to do. I'm going to do a stroke of C, so that's not no monochrome, and I want my monochrome to be, we established 0 as 2. Was 0 too dark? Maybe 10. And then 100, or is that too light? We'll see. Yeah. Now, I'm not, I think they could, like, I could do more of them, but have them shorter, because ultimately it's the length of the line that drives the visual, like how visually busy it looks. So if okay, so those are the brown texture, and this is the stuff, gray texture. Don't want to call them branches because it's not like we've got 1,000 random branches, but so let's make all of them like a little bit shorter. And in fact, actually, instead of 0, 10, I'm going to be minus 5, 5. Because processing will still accept coordinates that are beyond the boundaries of the edge, because you can draw, a rectangle whose corner is out of frame, but some of it is in the frame, or a line in that instance. So, and I'm also going to use minus 5, 5 in this other one, right? I want this to be identical. To be fair, I could have like done a single loop and then, actually I can probably do a single loop. Yeah. I've repeated that 1,000 times. I'm going to do both. I could have also simplified, I can refactor this code to do that. I don't want to be using the same X and Y, so it's good that I redo all of this. Yeah, let's try that. That's a little bit too pointillistic. Okay, I'm calling it minus 7. I think I can afford to have the. Tell you what, we're gonna have this one minus 10, 10. And because I think there's the thing, if I reduce this, I want to reduce that as well. Yeah, okay. I could fiddle with this forever, but that's probably good. In fact, that was probably too much time for, because I don't know. We can build it in any order, but like let's have an idea of the border picture. I don't even know what's going to be in the foreground. I think a house is nice because it's nice and geometric. You can only use squares. But then if I wanted to make it easy, I wouldn't have started by making like procedurally generated ground textures. On the ground. Now, this is something I actually played with earlier, and to be honest, like, great developers steal. So those are my little green triangles. Let's see how they look. This is a loop of 100. The fill is no red, some green, so mid green, 127, plus a random, so that gives me green between 77 and 177, which is 100 pixels, 100 strength, 100 to 255, almost half the range of variation. I pick random location, which actually is the location, the coordinates of my bottom corner. I say my, it's always my. I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, me, myself, and I. I'm still not decided on the spaces. I think now I've got like, now I'm normal zoom, not, less zoomed in. I don't mind. I think I like, I don't need things to be more compact. So let's do it once. And then now it's done, as long as I keep writing them correctly. Right. Apple, enter. I've got a stroke. That's unfortunate. Well, it's kept the stroke of the gray texture, so why not? So what I can tell is already that's too light, right? So how about between 50 and 0? They're probably a bit big as well, and I'm going to want to have, okay, so this is like ground vegetation, ground veg, your classic ground veg that you get at the market. Um, mm, mm. So this decides on the random greenish fill color, and I wanted to do no stroke so they don't have the outline. This now looks like that. I'm not sure now. I'm not so sure. How about no? Pretty good. I can live with that. If I reuse that code that picks a random that makes a random brownish color, isn't it nice? Um, and then make stroke weight. I don't even know what stroke weight was. I'm assuming it must have been already quite fine because look at those little lines and those little stars. I think stroke weight is 1, but because that would have been the default because we've never set stroke weight. I've shown it but deleted it. So yeah, mm, that's still a bit light. I mean, instead of doing that, right, I can just like pick the variation. So I want something that's 77 is the darkest. It's like that. I mean, I could have them darker and smaller and more of them. Again, make that 1,000, make them like much smaller. So what, like 10? I was going 5 and 10. So cut in half, 2 and 5, or even 4. But now I've got 1,000 of them. So still, I've multiplied that by 10, whereas in terms of surface, I've kind of half the surface or half the dimension. No, divided by 5 actually. So let's see. Is that going to be 2? Yeah, it's 2. And also because it's so small, with like that stroke now is a bit of an issue. So okay, let's just. It's almost like this. Well, I mean, I could leave that in. That's quite nice. So again, because it's a loop of 1,000, I'm just gonna take that, plumb those in. So I'm gonna call that ground texture. And I could make it sort of like taller, so to indicate just like a little bit more kind of verticality. So that's why actually I want to be doing, right? So y plus 4, y minus 4. How about y minus 6? Now, I don't know if that's going to get me to show a little bit of green. No, I'm only seeing the stroke. Am I only seeing the stroke, or are they just very dark? No, it's just the green is very dark. Because it's random minus 50, 0 for my fill. This is not what I want. Do I want full black? No, I want it at, so 127 minus 50 is where we were at. That was 77 was the darkest green I was getting. And then to 97, so 20 green. Right, now it's looking interesting. Yeah, okay, you can see I'm just kind of like divering and delaying because I don't want to actually start like drawing a foreground thing. Um, mm-mm. Okay, I'm thinking like the classic barn. Classic barn. So, we have stroke weight of 1. I'm gonna make sure my stroke is kind of like black. Stroke 0. That's that's a 1 number color, right? So if I do 255, it will be white. Actually, maybe I want 255, and maybe I want a stroke weight of 4, and then I would like a rectangle, just rect, and like about here. So what's that? Like 200. That's the middle. 200, 200. Um, I could use a series of loops to draw a grid, so I could figure out where where things are. But I want it like about here, so it's like I'm calling it 150x and no. 175. Why not? You see, I'd said from now on I'm doing spaces, so I'm doing spaces. And in terms of size, square 150 wide. So, and I was beyond the stroke, color, and weight. I will want the fill initially to be a bright full red, and full red is very bright. Boom. Okay. Yeah. Um, I think I want to make it small. All right. Mind you, that's kind of like now. Let's make this 200. So like I've got I think hue wise, I've got the hues I want. But like to match, because if you want to like have an actually realistic, sort of vaguely nature scene, most of the stuff I've been doing, I realize now, is trying to match not so much the colors, but the total brightness of the various things I'm drawing. Because a natural thing, will have mostly like, especially because like the scenes hints at night, so darkness, right? The illumination. Look, that seems to know more about art than I ever thought I did. Yeah, so like your eye can spot that. That looks like a big computer square, not like a barn, because it's too bright, you compared to the background. But if I do that, yeah, now we're talking. Okay, I like that. I like that. I can even never do full red like that. I'm good with that. Now, what would a barn have? I reckon if I put my stroke at 0, that's going to be very full black, and I do my stroke weight at 1. I think it's kind of like I think this must be an American thing, the kind of like red barn. Uh, okay. Yes. No. That's direct. This is the end of the barn square, as it were. As it were. I want to get like some plank. I want to do some like plank texture, by which I mean uh, dark stroke, just 1 pixel, dark line, vertical lines. Um, and I want those kind of evenly spaced, like yeah, like I think. So this is fun because so we know this is 150, 175. It's 4 I for iterator because we can use that for I in range. Now this is what's interesting. I can make it iterate. If I say just so this corner, the x, I'm going to do a loop, right, of vertical lines where only the x axis, like the x value needs to change because the y, the line is across along the y. Does that make sense? So I'm going to start at that corner 150, 175, and because it's 150, I want to go to 150 to 300. So I can say, why don't you go from 150 to 300? I can't believe I'm doing this. In steps of 5. So those are the values that I is going to take. So that's my x. Tell you what, I'm just going to call it x. That's why I hesitated, right? I want some spaces though. Okay, for x in range, I'm going to draw a line from 150 is so 175 is my y. So from x, 175 to x, 175 plus 150 is 325. Watch. Boom. Okay. Bit much, obviously, but that's the right idea. So I want to go in steps instead of 10. Double those, 7. Mind you, with a 1 pixel, 9. Fine. And so that, yeah, obviously I've got a stroke of 4, so it's like 179, which is going to make it start. Well, actually, it should be 2 below. And because I've got a stroke of 4, actually, I'm gonna do it from, 1. Is it like 154? Why not? It's really 2 pixels because the stroke is like exactly on. If I do a stroke weight of more than 1, it goes across. It goes on both sides of the edge, the actual coordinates of the edge. So that would be 396. So this 325 doesn't go to the full 325, but stops a little bit earlier. So 4 earlier, 321. I say forward again. I could have just done 2, but that way that gives me a little bit of Okay, so now those ones I actually want like right at the white, which is 2 pixels. And oh yeah, that's gone bad. Why am I stopping at 395? I mean, it clearly meant 296 probably. Three, yeah, and this 321, two more, 320, 323. Hmm. So 150. So it's not 150. Sorry, 152. 296. 299. Just to get, I should really have an extra one over here. And this is too far. So yeah, so that's kind of pixel by pixel. One more pixel here, but I really want them. So 181 is, oh, 181 is completely wrong, is it? 175, 177. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good, right? Okay, so except that my, which one was iterating? Uh, put it back here. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if it's kind of coincidence because like it's in steps of 7, but I mean this one I can see where I have a line immediately where I wanted it, and maybe I don't want it here for the first one. So I could bring it here. Like I know this is not going to look, unrealistic. It's just like the plank is a little bit offset, right? And then yeah, just kind of offsetting the planks. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. That's well, okay. So that's the plank texture. That's good. Now, okay, I need like a big red barn. What does it look like? Okay, I think I can. There's a cafe. Oh, I didn't realize the. I didn't realize. I just thought it was a square. Oh, this is much more complicated than. See, this is where I didn't want to. But yeah, that's the what I remember. There's some crosses on the doors, right? So we want those doors. We can do doors. We can do. You want doors? Yeah, I got doors. I got doors. We're fine. Uh, yeah, yeah. Let's do the doors, I think. But I'm gonna want to see how's the top then. Like, is there like a nice shape? Okay, maybe just like maybe not big red barn. Actually, like small. Ooh, look at that. That's okay. How about if I say cute red barn? Oh, hmm. It doesn't have windows. I'm not going to, but like, this is, yeah. I suppose like, I just can't be bothered with the maths of doing like the lines and the slopes. But if there's like an easy shape, what I could do though, right, is like I could make it rectangular and wide, like this one. I like this one. Because that's like a rectangle and then a triangle. Okay, that their door is not good. I will want the crosses. That's not good. That's actually, that's maybe like what I want, I think, or something like that. Although like they've been lazy because it's not the middle. Okay, yeah, let's do this kind of barn. So I'm going to want the barn to be wider. So that's the width of my rectangle. Now maybe so I'm going to make it narrow as well. So now it's like that's the aspect ratio. Of course, I'm going to want to change. Now this is where if I had variables, well, no, I'm not going to use the variables. Let's not make it too complicated. We can do it by hand. So now the range is 1.6. We still start at 156, but this time we're going to end at 350. So it's like presumably 347, right? And then this, instead of going all the way to 322, because I've gone from 150, we've removed 50 off, so that's 72. 272. Yes, 273. No, that's good. Oh, so I'm just clicking refresh. I like this, in fact. I mean, you know that I don't know if I don't know if we want to go to the tour. Like, you know how I don't know if you've seen like modern military camouflage that's all pixelated. It turns out this is a better, what they call disruptive pattern. It's better at making like the human eye cannot really detect like edges on this kind of pattern. And this is exactly what I'm doing here. I realize, like with my little green and brown and grays. Okay, that's not. It's looking pretty barny. Right, a triangle at the top. Do I dare? Now, it all depends whether I'm happy to have that bar. Well, look, I've done this, right? So why not bar outline? There's also a try, and that try has also a corner at 150, 175, and another one at 350, 175. Should we see that one, right? 175. And then a third one in the middle. So the middle of 150 and 350, that's 250. We made it easy for us, right? Then there's the question of how high. So it's going to be less than 175 because I want it to be lower on the y axis, which is top to bottom. How much? We'll just play it by ear. 5. This is what I said. This is 100 tall. So if you make it 100, bit much. 75. What's broken now? Oh, yeah, because it's not it's triangle for because of my stroke. Wait, like that's not just okay, fine. I'm not gonna because I could I think I could waste. I'm the kind of person that will just f go and fix this first because it's making me very unhappy, but I know that you might want to see some kind of more productive coding. Now to do the planks across the thing, the roof, like the whatever it is, I don't know if I can even do a bit of no, whatever. Um, what did I say? 75? No, I want it to be 75 tall, so I want it to be 100. Yes, that's more like it. So for the planks, I would have to have this going along the line, which I mean, then you need to have like the equation of the line in maths to say like when, given the angle, given it's a line between 150, 175 and 250, 100, those 2 points, then you can have the equation of the line and the relationship between x and y. And I feel like even for me, and I enjoy maths as much as the next person. That's the point. I definitely enjoy math more than the next person, unless that next person is different. It is, very enjoy maths themselves. But like, I'm not going to inflict that on you. Mm, but if I could fill, I still want to fill this though. Now I know. Well, it's going to look how it's going to look. Uh, okay, roof. Okay, this is what I can do easily though is 4x. I'm going to make it iterate over the same thing. Actually, I can do it in the same place again because it's the same iteration. And I'm also going to have a line. So this time I'm going to have lines from my top corner, like the very top of the roof, to this junction. So this is going to go above the white. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, do you see what I mean? This is what I had in mind. So that doesn't look, well, that doesn't look like, actual planks, but what it does, I mean, it makes my eyes go funny. You see like this kind of like this very dramatic perspective, early 3D. Um, it looks like the tip of the roof is kind of further back. And this is stuff you can do. I could have done that super easily, actually. I need to kind of go back if I want to get, well, we can do another scene maybe in the next week. Yeah, I would like my morning coding to be a regular thing in as much as I can find the time. Okay, let's leave this in because why not? And then let's have some doors. Forgive me, Jim Morrison's. No, okay, you not. I don't even know if I can spell his name right because it's not like the supermarket. The doors. It's a rectangle. But that's going to go over our planks. Maybe it's not such a bad thing. We are still, no, we're in stroke weight 1. We want to go back to our stroke 180, stroke weight 4. Although we could maybe try 3 just to see if like it's a smaller planks. Who knows? and I want to get rect, and this time against that line at you know 175 of y. Bearing in mind my horizon is 200. This is how you can kind of move things around. Although now if I want to move things around because they're tied in several places, I'll do another video to refactor it. Don't worry about it. I think that there's a lot of meat on that bone. There's a lot of fun we can have. Um, but let's do the door. So that's one. What's my x? So 150 would be here. So the middle of the barn is at 250, as we've established, and the barn is 200 wide. So assume that if the doors are 100 wide in the middle, they're going to be between 150 and, what did I just say? 100 wide in the middle, and it's 200 wide, so it's like plus 50. So yeah, they're going to be at 200, 300, but that's going to make very wide. It's going to make square doors, to be fair. Like they're all kind of square in cross sections, although there's kind of like more rectangle above them. So how about instead a square door of 75 wide, make that another number, 80 wide, and this time actually centered at the bottom. So no, rectangle is the top left. This is a little bit finky. Let's just draw a square, and so let's start easy. So there was 200. 175 is our y line at the top, and I want it to be 100 wide and 100 tall. I can add the right. That would be this square. Yeah, that's. Now I think we can make it look a little bit nicer by making that 80 and 80. Now if I do that, actually it makes it like that. So this is, I've got the right size of square, but now that I've make it smaller, I want to line it up. I want to line it up accordingly. So I want to actually line up to the bottom. So I need to increase the y of its top by 20, because this is just like line it up. So that makes it 195. Now it's at the bottom. And then to center it, I've removed 20 of its width. So I need to add half of that, because like the difference is, if you will, taken by either half. And now I have a smaller barn door over here. If I bring it even a tiny bit more, I can even perfectly line up with the planks, but no, we're not here. I can then do some lines. So between, if I just do the cross lines, that's 210, 195 is the top left corner of the door square. Just add 80 to those. 290, 195 plus 80, it's 200 plus 80, it's 275. And that's, went too fast. Because it's not lines, it's line. Yeah, why not? And then now, so those two corners are easy because we know the coordinates of that one, and then we just add to both. Like the opposite corners are a little bit more fiddly, but we can do it. We have another line, and this one is between 210 plus 80 is 290x. That's 290x is where that edge is, right? So actually, yeah, no. 290x, 195. Right, so it's the same numbers as here, but like kind of swapped around, right? So like 290, 195, 210, 275. Yeah, I should have just, yeah, because I've got all of the information here. I just need to kind of reorganize it. And that's my barn door. Now, you may also want a line in the middle. Now, the middle of the barn, as we established, is 250. So it's 250, and the top of the door is 195 to 250, again in the middle, and 275 for the bottom of the door and the bottom of the barn, right? Because it's like 175 and it was 100 tall. Whoop. More stars. Let's have more stars. Come on. I mean, if we're doing 1,000, let's do. Yeah. But I'm gonna have the stroke go all the way to the darker, and actually I might do it in passes. So I want 500 between 0 and 200. No, I want, that's the point, that's the point. I want to control a little bit. 900 of those between 0 and 200. And then another bit of those, just 100 of maybe brighter one, like potentially brighter. So, see if that may go to 255. Ooh, oh no. Oh, yes, that's why. Remember, so this is telling, I'm non-indented, meaning only run once. The instruction for that itself is a loop. That's a second loop. If you want to make it a bit neater, you can write blank line. More styles, that's nice. Texture, I can do in 5 minutes. I mean, we can do let's have a look at my planks because like I can do, now I've got the doors, I can just do like plank stuff on the door. They're not going to line up, but they're not make of the same plank, so that's normal. Uh, so it's not really plank texture, just planks. And because I've called it planks, I can reuse that bit of code because it's door planks. And this time, or X. Now, top of my door, 210, 195 to this one, right? 210, 210. No, to 290, 1. Going too fast. Yeah, 290, 195, I think. Yeah, well, 290. Yeah, which is here, that corner. I should label them with comments, but don't have time. Right. What did I just say? 210. We keep seeing this number everywhere, so it must be right. 210 to 290. Now, if we can make smaller doors, right? Because maybe they don't make the same thing. So like those are doors of 7 wide, so there's going to be more of them. And yeah, and we can also even make that stroke a little bit lighter. And in fact, particularly for the yeah, for like the triangle ones, it would help if I kind of like bring them a little bit lighter. Ooh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes just comment that out. So the beauty is that we can turn things in and out in our code by just, control slash, you comment things in and out. You can see what you've got. So if I want to work on the background, I can just comment out the foreground, etc. So put those back in. Maybe I did more with the darker stuff. But this, well, let's see how that behaves. So next 177, that doesn't sound right because I want my top edge is 195, except I am with a stroke weight of 3, so it's like 196. And I'm going all the way to 275, but again, stroke weight of 3, so maybe like 274. What's happened? Oh, of course. Yeah, if you get a comment in the code block that you're commenting and commenting, you might uncomment your human comment. Okay, so if I just need to bring it in. Let's have it at like, yeah, of course, because the free applies, the sort of stroke weight free does apply here as well. It's a bit better. I will want the rest of the doors, the cross stuff of the doors in front of the planks, obviously. But of course, I also need to put my stroke and stroke weight instructions in here, because now we're back on like fake white. Hey, now that's not looking half bad, even if I say so myself. So it's like 272 is like not enough. It's not touching as 272. Oh, they need to start. Yeah, and this one as well. Okay, this is where the zoom is helpful. Right. So let's shift those in by making it start later, 215. And then also I want them to start at a larger Y. So what did I? Oh no, it's not 210. On the contrary, it's like 214 or something, right? Yeah. Oh, okay. Not me. What is it? What is happening? Okay. I don't understand why this is not lining up where I expect it to be. It's quite concerning. because that's a rect at x. Oh, x equal to 10. Sorry, 195. I'm with you. I'm again here, but not 195 because we need to account for 197. Yes, and I wanted to go a little bit further as well to 73. And now, ooh, too much. Yeah, that looks like looks pretty good. It's kind of like the planks end in the right place. And I like as well because it's kind of like drawn on top of it. Uh, mm, um, good barn, good barn. Right, that's enough for the first hour. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do some more, but I like the format because it's like sort of long form. Um, yeah, see you soon on the channel for, or maybe in class, for some of that. End stream. Do I end the stream? Oh no, should I just do an outro in the thing? Because I think if I look at that, fade. Well, that was it. We have written some code. We've used some loops. We've used random. That was pretty good. We've paid a lot of attention to color and thickness. There was quite a lot of mental calculations for coordinating and getting everything right. But you can see that, once you get a couple of basics right, and then if you just then you fine tune and you can get something that looks really good. Hope to see you soon.